Hey guys, we're live. I think I know how to use this now, which is really cool. We have Tony. Tony's here, Ferro, from changems.org. And, the whole idea of this whole thing, I see my kids running around in the background and stuff. The whole idea of this thing is really, I've gotten a lot of emails, a lot of texts from people that are really losing hope, are new to the whole MS thing, don't know where to turn. Kind of where I was a few years ago. So I just thought it would be really neat if we could start to talk to people that have been going the same things we're going through and give us some advice. And so Tony is a great example, and he's got awesome stories. So I'm going to see if he's around, and we'll get talking to him. The other thing is, hey, Tony. There you go. I'm going to put you on a bigger screen. There you are.
Cool. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. I feel lost. It's sunny in Buffalo.
I'm from Buffalo, man. I know about that.
I'm at Delaware Park. Took a couple laps and the sun's out.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Beautiful park. Yep. That's off the 30.
Yep.
Yeah.
55 degrees. I feel like I'm somewhere else.
Yeah. I was just outside getting a little sun, but I'm in Atlanta. Guys, this is Tony from changems.org. He's got a really unique story. I'll let him talk. But you know what? You guys are feel free to chime in and ask some questions. You can type them in. We'll, during the whole thing, we're going to try to keep this to like 15 minutes. If I can close my mouth. and just so we don't take a lot of time for you guys. But obviously there'll be the replay there. So pretty cool. All right, Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself. You were diagnosed with MS.
Diagnosed with MS officially in 2012. My symptoms started kind of like 08, 09, and I waited a really long time before I went to the doc.
Okay. What were your symptoms? You take us there a little bit, unpack it.
Started with my right hand, and I kind of blew it off. Numbness, tingling. It went away, came back. It was a little bit higher up my arm to my elbow. Same thing, kind of blew it off. And then by the time I actually went to the doctor, I was pretty numb from the neck down, and I had what I now know as the MS hug, pretty severely. So I figured it was a good time to probably.
Tell us about the MS hug. Difficulty breathing, or what was your experience with that?
Yeah, it was pretty tight breathing. Felt like I was laying on like a boulder, so it was hard to sleep and get comfortable. So it affected my midsection more, and like my lung, like my upper torso a little bit more.
Painful?
That was painful. My other symptoms were not. It was just a lot of numbness, a lot of tingling, bad depth perception.
But scary because all through your life you haven't felt anything like this, no?
Never, no, nothing like that, never.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Keep going. So.
No. And then I did go multiple MRIs, but I played football in high school and I went to prep school. I had multiple concussions, so they really couldn't give me 100% diagnosis until I went and got the spinal tap. I did get the spinal tap, and they said that was 99.99 chance of me having MS. I did not know what MS was. I knew one other person.
Go back to the MRI. You had lesions back then. They showed you.
Yep, they had white matter on my brain, and something showed up on my cervical and on my spine. So that could probably, explain the numbness and the tingling. And
anybody in your family ever have MS?
I have a second cousin actually in Italy that had it before I did, but that's it. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's okay. So with the diagnosis now, did you start medications, treatments?
2012, I did not. I decided to stay off meds. I was home probably like everybody. Everybody I talked to has kind of got the same story. I was sent home with 3 binders full of meds to read, um,
Yeah.
and it was up to me to choose what I wanted to take. And that was kind of my first. This is kind of this is the only situation of me being stubborn actually kind of paid off, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
Okay. No, it does. So
I,
yeah. So
I
take.
did go home. I did go home and read up on the meds.
Yes.
Went on the drug company's websites looking for more in depth detail on how the meds worked, and nothing. Everything that made the meds work was always filled out as unknown. And at the time, 2012, the placebo. I was interested in the placebo effect because they had the same percentage rate as the meds working without the side effects. So I got sidetracked and started looking for alternative therapies because I didn't know what I was dealing with. So I needed to know a little bit more before I made
Are
that kind of choice.
very intuitive.
But I decided to stay off the meds, and that was my choice. I'm not anti-med or anti-doc, but I just
Yeah, that's intriguing to me because even me and being in the medical community, when the doctor tells you you got this and you need that, you just do it. But you didn't, so
no,
that's
I did not.
cool. Uh,
Did not.
yeah.
But I learned a lot. And then I stumbled upon Wahls' TED Talk in 2012.
Okay.
I'm sure like many have, and that just kind of got my gears turning a little bit more. I ended up finding a local naturopath doctor that kind of put me on a paleo because the protocol wasn't out yet.
Right.
And my symptoms started subsiding. So I started getting better, but I was kind of a slow transitioner into like the protocol and the lifestyle. So I make fun of myself all the time that I grew up a fat Italian kid, grew up in the pizza business, so I was always attached to food, bad food.
Right. Well, now that we know bad food.
I know, and then I would slip a lot because I felt so good. But now I think it's important for people to do that as well, kind of. And I tell everybody, kind of be careful feeling good because you're gonna think you could slip into old habits. You get comfortable, and you're soon reminded that we are not the same anymore. So we really have to be careful. Hey, there it is, right there. Hey,
Imagine that.
no, no more pizza for me.
Yeah, I grew up delivering pizzas. I worked at Domino's. I mean, that was my thing. I mean, what do you in Buffalo?
Yeah,
Pizza
that's what
wings,
we do.
right?
The pizza capital of the world.
Sure. And wow, they can't forget wings, right? Um,
No,
all right, so keep going. I'm liking it. What's next? So you found Wahls through the naturopath naturopath through paleo, and then through her TED talk. Um, and what's the next thing? What brought you to the next step?
next step was kind of self experimentation. So the paleo thing worked. I cut out gluten, cut out dairy, but I never gave it up fully. So
Not I mean, you would cheat now and then, have a donut, have pizza or whatever, right?
yes, yep,
Especially being Italian. I mean, my in-laws are Italian, and you go to eat at their house, like
yeah, you're done. It's over.
yeah, you're not gonna have semolina bread. I mean, come on, like what?
They want to give you more. They don't get it.
Oh yeah, and which is great, right? They mean
Yeah,
well. They mean well, but and
yeah.
she. Yeah. All right, so that took a pretty big fortitude for you to say, all right, I'm not gonna have bread. I'm not gonna have pasta. I'm not gonna have milk.
I think after anytime I did feel good and I did get comfortable, I did end up slipping into old habits, and I would end up having. I would get so comfortable, I'd cheat myself into a flare. So there was always a direct correlation between either stress in my life or what I was eating. So the worse I got, the more I wanted to work on myself, the harder I wanted to work on figuring this thing out.
So
And then
it's almost
the
like
protocol came out. I read that, and then I went to the seminar in 2015. Was the first one that I went to, and
okay,
still kind of teeter tottered. So I didn't really understand the actual importance of food. So,
right.
but I would cheat less and less, and then my flares spread out more. So I would regularly flare twice a year. It'd take me 6 months to recover, only to flare all over again. The more I follow the protocol, my flares actually spread out to once a year, and then no times a year. So I technically been in remission for a couple of years. I did have some activity on my brain due to a hand infection. Some of my old symptoms came back, but I actually bounced back.
A rather severe hand infection, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was in the hospital.
IV antibiotics in the hospital.
Yep, for a week.
Okay.
And I was worried that would trigger a massive attack, but I held a major flare at bay, so I can't complain.
So I'm just going to hurry along. So where do you think you'd be without Wahls? Like, do you think, we always have our doubts, right?
Oh yeah, I doubt. I had doubts, but it was a personal mission to kind of figure things out before, and I'm still not anti-med. Maybe, and I always tell my doc that, if I need them, I could always go on them. And now the more that I learn, the more stubborn I'm becoming. But I'm not my own worst enemy.
Yeah, well, we know that for some people, if they choose to go on the meds, they absolutely need to choose to clean up their diet because
Big time.
they're not really exclusive.
Yeah, because I think the more people understand, I don't even think the word diet should apply.
Yeah.
This is a
Good
lifestyle.
point.
You have to really understand the inflammatory response that can trigger the immune response. So it's not just about food; it's way deeper, and we really have to get that understanding of why it matters what we put in our mouth, rather than.
So, all right. So let's
very hard to break old habits. It's hard to break addictions, and we never really think about food like that until.
So you brought up a good point. The Wahls protocol is just that. It's a protocol. It's a lifestyle. It's not just food. It's mind, body, spirit. Do you agree?
Total package.
Yeah. And so it's a big change. So it's not about just what you eat, how you move, how you think, and not to belittle the point, because the dietary changes, if you were where I was, I mean, it's a huge learning curve. And you said your flip actually have taught you things, no?
Every books taught me things. You've taught me things. You have to be open to learn from everybody. We can't. We'll probably be lifetime learners. We're not gonna have all the answers.
100%.
We're gonna keep digging and digging and digging. So sometimes you have to look at yourself and think. It took me a lot of not lying to myself anymore until that's when I started seeing big results. When I stopped coming up with the excuses to cheat, the excuses to how am I going to not live without this, this, and this. You have to put quality of life over anything. So I was down and out. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And then when I got better and I would cheat, it would bring me back to that. So you learn the hard way, but you learn. That's a good crew right there. Good crew right there.
It is a good crew right there. But I'm kind of prodding you to talk about the Wahls protocol, because for me it was actually, it's kind of funny to think about that before we went on. Seeing you and Kane online helped me go to the protocol seminar, which was life changing. Tell me about your experiences. You've been there more than once. No, you've been there.
I've been twice. So when I met you, it was the second time.
And so what did the protocol do for you? Not to plug Wahls, because you know what, guys? We're not getting any money. We don't even get a discount. We're just like, this is just like sharing our experiences,
Yeah. I think it is a very vital piece of the puzzle. I think symptom and disease management needs to be addressed a lot more, especially in doctors' offices. We can't be sent home with a script and think everything's going to be cool, sit there and hope nothing bad's going to happen. We really have to take an active role in our treatment. But we have to understand that if we're not told that, we're never going to take that step. So that's kind of what I'm working on now to develop a little bit of a symptom and disease management strategy rather than just relying on your meds. You can take your meds, that's fine, but you have to understand how much deeper it actually is.
I'm going to put a picture up here of Tony. And
I was a big boy too.
So Tony, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So take us through this. We're going 2015 to 2017.
Yeah.
And by your picture, you're 498 pounds, and now you get 385 pounds. You must have been dieting and running on the treadmill a lot, right?
No, not a lot of cardio. I am lifting now every day, 5 days a week. I'm stronger even before than I ever was playing football. My energy's through the roof. I don't really battle fatigue anymore, depression, brain fog. All that hit me pretty hard. So, and I've been doing Wahls level 3 pretty consistently, and it kind of alleviated a lot of those symptoms. So I can't complain. But like I said, I think it's more about understanding rather than just trying things. You really got to get a deeper understanding of why it works and how to get better control. But I haven't lost much weight recently, but my body composition is still changing, so I'm putting on a lot of muscle.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, what I understand, and Wallace talks about quite a bit, is the protocol. One of the biggest side effects when unknown type of is weight loss, which
Yeah.
is not, what we consider not a bad thing, right?
No, not at all. I tell everybody weight loss and energy side effect.
Awesome, awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's walk us now what you're doing. Now I understand that you have started. You've done some work, right? You've
A little bit of work. 2014, I had an idea to start a nonprofit to implement some of these strategies because when I was diagnosed, there really wasn't anything out there, nothing for support, nothing to learn anything. And I wasn't 100% on the protocol, just that the whole way I was diagnosed was kind of shitty, excuse my language, but it could put somebody in a really bad place if you don't have anywhere to really turn to or get information from. I never knew about the MS Society, so that was poorly marketed. Like in the doctor's offices, I know it's not their responsibility, but if you're telling somebody they got, something major wrong with them, I think that's the time where you need a lot of information so you have options. So you leave that doctor's office pretty terrified and scared. You run to Google, it's not pretty stories. So you could dig yourself in a deeper hole. So Change MS is kind of an advocacy group. We want to focus on that support system. We want to provide education. We want to at least implement a symptom and disease strategy and not just rely on your meds. Like I said, I'm not anti-med or anti-doc. I'm trying to work with everybody to get everybody on the same page to make it a better experience. We got to stay positive as best we can.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's pretty neat that you went and create your own nonprofit. And from what I understand, you have also got accolades, right? I mean,
I have, yep. I've gotten awards from the MS Society, so we're trying to pull everybody together to be on the same page the best that we can. So we're even working together with one of the top neurologies, Dr. Jacobs, the Jacobs Center,
sure.
um, to do an actual a research-based wellness conference to where we address diet, exercise, sleep, and stress. That's like the four. And I want to throw in self-love, as you mentioned. It's really a total package. To
Great, great. And you said, and just to kind of repeat that, you've gotten awards from the MS Society.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive because it's very easy to demonize the pharmaceutical companies, the MS Society, et cetera, et cetera. But if we can kind of, as I went through school, it was always gaining pearls, gaining knowledge from anywhere you could. And so, if we can kind of look past that a little bit, I think that might even help our cause a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, the online presence that Walls has alone, and people keep asking. I forgot how many millions of searches. I think it was like 50 million searches on diet and lifestyle with MS. And I think that the success of the protocol led her, and people asking about it led to her getting the grant from MS Society. So I'd like to work with the people that can make a bigger impact. Like, we're a small group, but our message is pretty loud, and people are hearing it.
Right. These kind of these partnerships, these that you want to develop, and we always joke, you and I, like an Italian saying is like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Not that they're enemies, but you know what? Just take it all in.
There's a lot of information to take in, but there's room for improvement on all sides of the spectrum. And when I was diagnosed, I'm sure when you were diagnosed, there just wasn't much out there. And I don't think we should be left alone to fend for ourselves when there's so much information out there that could benefit us.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna plug I know we talked about Change MS, and but you have a benefit coming.
We do. March is awareness month. So since 2000, when the heck was the first one? 14.
Okay.
This will be our fourth one in March.
So tell me about this. This is a ball, a masquerade ball.
It's a masquerade ball. The mask is significant to MS being an invisible illness, so you never know who's going through what. You never know who's wearing what mask. But wearing a mask is not mandatory. So we also want you to take the mask off and face your fears and not be afraid. Not be afraid to talk about it. Not be afraid to face it. Not be afraid to ask for help. You're not alone. And we want to provide that support system. We can get through it together. There's a lot of people that have been through it that just want to help others get through it.
So if people want to go and either do it or find out more about Change MS, it's changems.org. Is that the?
Yep, changems.org. We're in the process of actually remodeling the website because we're coming up with a list of programs that'll be free to the MS community on lifestyle. And we have a monthly support group every third Thursday right now. And we like to incorporate a little bit of education in those groups as well. So we've done self-love workshops. We've done gratitude workshops. We've done diet and exercise workshops. V actually came to one of our support group meetings. It was great.
I love V.
Yeah, she's good people.
All right, so you're all about education and trying to. I got to tell you, when I was first diagnosed, there was no support service. There was nothing. It was just me and the docs, and it was just being scared. And
it's very scary.
I love what you're doing. I mean, there was nothing. The only game in the field, and I'm not going to bash anybody, but Swank. And that was the only thing I could look to. So I think what you're doing is really awesome. I think Dr. Wahls is doing is really awesome. I think with Diane, Paleo Boss Lady's doing very awesome. We all of us warriors, we're out there. We're
collectively, we could all make a difference.
And collectively, that's where the power is going to be. All right.
No ego, no competition. It's just really about the cause. It's really about things done to benefit people.
So I'll just get a few more questions, then we're going to sign off because we're trying to keep it down. But so you're following Wahls now. You still have your up days and down days. I mean, tell us just the realism.
The realism is way more up days than down days now.
More up days than down days.
I don't. Since the seminar in August, I've been 100% compliant. I don't cheat anymore. Like last summer, I would do ice cream once in a while. Yep. Now, I'll find better substitutes. I think it's. But I was a food addict. I was addicted to a lot of crap, and we're subconsciously addicted to shit. Excuse my language again. But it's hard to break that, and that's the hardest challenge was to really understand the power of food.
I'm going to give you the last word. So in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just give advice to people. We have people that have been diagnosed for many, many years, like myself. And then we have people that just been diagnosed watching right now. What's your advice with, let's just be specific about the Wahls protocol. How would you recommend they approach it, and how do they go through it, by in your opinions?
My opinion would be to really get a good understanding on inflammation, what causes inflammation, because everybody will tell you MS is an inflammatory condition or disease. Nobody really gets into how to treat inflammation. So that's why food matters. So if we have an underlying food allergy or sensitivity, we keep adding logs to the fire. We're not ever taking them off to give our body a chance to do what it wants to do. If you ask me, our immune system is not broken. Uh, it's attacking free radicals that should not be in our system, but it's harming the process. So we really have to get a grasp on why food matters and how to get better control. I think control can be the closest thing to a cure. You know, it doesn't mean MS will ever be cured. We'll always have it, but what environment are we providing it? Either to thrive or to kind of just not bother us as much.
Okay, great. Now, for the new person just looking at this Wahls protocol book, it's very overwhelming. No.
Very very overwhelming. I'd say be patient, but take steps. Take any movement forward still leads to a good destination. So anything that you could do to either eliminate, and then even for me, like in the beginning, it was easy to cut things out, but I wasn't even focused on what I needed to get in. And I think you guys mentioned that yesterday. So that's a struggle in itself.
That was me, absolutely.
Yeah, and I still imagine being on a diet where you can't eat enough. So I still struggle with getting my daily requirements in or enough fat when I'm in keto but it's all good things. So I can't complain. But I think
So the other,
be
go ahead.
persistent, just be persistent, but don't be afraid to learn and learn about yourself. So there's a lot of layers of the onions you got to peel back to get pretty deep within yourself to learn a lot about yourself. I mean, you're going to challenge yourself a lot. You're going to yell at yourself a lot. Don't beat yourself up too much. You just got to keep rolling day by day. Learn what you can.
They say fall down once, get up twice.
Yeah,
You know. So, but the one thing I'll add to that is, and you taught me this, and Kana and everybody at the seminar taught me this. There's an incredible support system, um, like us sharing what we've learned, and it's not been easy, right? And that we could kind of give people a leg up, or just kind of explain some things, or explain how to eat this, do this, or what do we do instead, and it's kind of warming. I mean, like, Diana, the Paleo Boss, and you, and David from the Healthy Detour, and Kana, and I mean, Beth Schultz. I mean, I can just rattle off names, and I'm not even going to do that because I don't miss many names. But
On the new site, I'd like to get people's success stories from all over and become kind of like a inner. Even if you're not on Wahls, but you use the food-based lifestyle, a lot of systems around, that's still a success story. That's still understanding how you got control of the inflammation. So I'm not anti any other diet or anti anything. Just as long as you're yourself.
A little over, because you bring up a good point. Wahls is Wahls, right? But Wahls, if we break it down to the simplest form, it's a higher nutrient, lower carb, cutting out the crap, or as you said, shit.
Yeah.
And by doing that, like, I think for me, like you said, it was easy to cut out the crap, hard to get the nutrients in. But even Wahls did that without getting the nutrients in, not only from pills and supplements, but from food. That's when the magic happens.
Right. You have to really get a good grasp of the why. So not only do you got to get a grasp of the why that our bodies fell in dysfunction and it's crying for help, but then you got to get the why food matters, how to really get things back on track. You want to get the body back on track to work for itself and not against it. So where I was to where I am now, I can't complain. Like I'm blessed to regain a lot of function that I lost, and I just want to help other people get on a better path. It doesn't have to be 100%, but make the proper changes. Just a better anything. A little bit of energy goes a long way. You know, a little bit of better mood goes a really long way, especially if you've been in the dark. It's not a fun place.
Well, you know what, Tony? Awesome job. Awesome. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I know a lot of people appreciate this. We'll rebroadcast this on
Yep.
On the on your page, on my page, Carolyn Ron's journey. Maybe we put on the Wahls Protocol page if they're okay with that, and we'll
Sure.
put it on and so this will be here. But if you need to get in touch with Tony, I guess through changems.org.
ChangeMS.org. You can hit me up on my personal Facebook page. I talk to people from all over the world, just giving them little bits and pieces of advice. So I have no issue with helping anybody.
That's awesome of you. Thank you. All right, guys. If you guys have any ideas about this, I'd like to bring on some other guests. I'd even like to bring on some neurologists on here so we could really get to the nitty gritty about some things. And, so if you guys, anybody watching, if you guys have any ideas, PM Tony or PM me, and let's just try to make something cool out of this. Let's get it together.
Even if you want to leave questions in the comment box, I'll get to them after.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, brother, thank you so much. And we will keep fighting. We'll keep working. You're an inspiration. So
keep working. Awesome. Thank you. You've inspired me more than you know.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Oh yeah, don't knock
yourself. What are you gonna do? So
appreciate you.
All right, buddy.
Take care. Have a good one.
God bless.
Bye.